Hello and a very warm welcome to Enterprise Morning on Enterprise TV. Of course, we're back with it on our station of choice, especially on a wet morning here in Lagos. Henry, we can all do with some warmth, right?
Very true, very true. Especially a cup of latte would do for me.
Actually, coffee will do for me.
Coffee would do for you.
Coffee will do
Well,
for me.
that's all good though.
I am Shoma Okoya.
And I am Henry Igwebike.
All right, we head straight into our newspaper segment, but not without first inviting you to be a part of our community and have a say in what we say. We are at Enterprise TV 7 across all social media. You may subscribe, comment, like, and share. You may also log onto our website at www.enterprisetvnews.com. Our guest for this segment is journalist and public affairs commentator Cyril Abako. Good morning.
Good morning.
Thank you.
And welcome to Enterprise Morning today.
Thank you, Henry.
All right. So quickly, let's move on to our newspaper dailies today. And we're kicking off the show with the Daily Trust newspaper. And the big story there says bandits kill 50 burn houses in Plateau State. And the rider, Wasi Kanam, acts as no longer peaceful. Sub-rider, we've killed 7 of the attackers, and that's coming from the Nigerian police.
Moving on, but still on the Daily Trust newspaper, Kano Assembly to amend law Ganduje used to dethrone Sanusi.
Very well. And on the bottom strip of the same newspaper, hardship, social chaos looms, ACF warns.
And on the minimum wage, federal government labor meeting deadlocked again.
And still on that strip of the same newspaper, Abuja abduction, 9 still missing, and that's coming from the families of those that were abducted. Cyril Abako, let's get into the meaty part of our discussion today. Bandits kill 50 burn houses in Plateau. A couple of weeks back, we talked about herds, cattle, about 50 of them being killed in the same area. And don't you think this is a form of a reprisal?
Well, we've seen this one happen in Wase community, in Wase local government area. If I'm not mistaken, Wase sounds like just north.
Yeah. No, it's not. It's on the bottom strip of Jos. You know, when you're going to Bokos, Barkeladi, that access.
Fine.
Yes.
So, but the concern remains the same. And one wonders why, for once, what the lesson it is we're not learning from Plateau State. Because now, how did this happen? So, purported gunmen came on motorcycles and shot for sporadically. This death toll may even increase. Because it was initially kept at 40.
Yeah, 40.
Later on, it's 50. And we're wondering, so again, people like, why do we, it's the same pattern, different places, same outcomes, then nothing happens. They came on bikes, they were armed, they shot sporadically. They used that same method to kidnap people in Borno, that method to conduct attacks in Kaduna, that same method to conduct attacks in Abuja, where they freed those people like Kuje, right? So this is the same pattern. The terrorists are using the same technology, the same technique, the same strategy, and it appears we are the only ones who have not learned to borrow a leaf from their book. So how do you hope to you see, one of the strategies in warfare is that you are able to think, get into the mind of the enemy, of the opponent, to think what he's thinking or what they are thinking, and then counteract. That's why before you go, they go on an offensive or launch an assault. They have different scenarios: who to lead, who to be the backup. So almost everything, different teams have different roles. If they change from strategy 1 to strategy 2, it appears. But no matter what the Nigerian government wants to say or the army wants to say, when we keep seeing the same outcomes, results all the time, the question is, what different thing are we doing? I thought it was Einstein or somebody who said, if you keep doing the same thing, hoping for a different result, then it's called insanity. This same Barakin Ladi, since last year, I think it was in the dying days of the Buhari government, they've turned, Plateau has been a killing field, has been a slaughterhouse for almost a year, non-stop.
But more worrisome, you know, it's this particularly is intriguing, Wase and Kanam local government area are mostly the Muslim-dominated local government in Plateau State. Now, for this to happen, what do you think? Could it be those who have been subjugated for a very long time are the ones carrying out this attack?
No,
It's an assumption.
Sure, no. It's not the people who have always carried out these attacks. You see, because of course, I thought Wase was just known, but I know that Wase is the Ibrahim Wase. That is the reps man that wanted to be speaker. You know, first of all, the Plateau crisis is all artificial. It's not a natural organic problem. It's that because Babangida's ill-advised and ill-thought move to create just not local government area was what caused all these problems that we're having just today. Now, even people in Bokos and Bakenladi have been saying that, to be fair, even Muslims are being killed.
Oh, okay.
That even Hausas are being killed. That the same spirit that has possessed the killers in Plateau, they've seen that same spirit manifesting in even places like Zamfara.
Oh, okay.
Where you have
more Muslims, yeah.
So this is more like ethnic domination agenda than it is anything else. You've had people use there are terms I don't like to use because for me, I find it difficult to define them in the ways people have defined them classically. Terms like Islamization, terms like its later day offspring, Fulanization. When we hear these things, and it's one thing, but when we now see certain actions that don't attract repercussion, that don't attract consequence from government, it now begins to lay credence to the fact that what some people might have been saying could be true after all. We've read reports that that some of the attackers were killed, and that they arrested one person that was receiving treatment from. I want to think it's from the attack, but the argument is the way we've seen government act over time. The character is consistent. Even government appears sometimes to not be in the mood to address issues. I give you 2 examples. 7 of the attackers were killed in Plateau. It's good news as it were, but we could have arrested more of them. Like arrest them would have been better, so that you can interrogate them, get information, prosecute, and now know how to deal with. But we've lost that opportunity. Like I said, it's good news, but maybe not better news. We did the same thing in Delta, where they went and found a so-called oil bunkering ship or something that had been there for almost 20 or more years. Then all they did was that they were told to blow it up. You should bring it in, arrest its operators, then investigate. Because when you don't investigate a matter, prosecute and serve justice, what it means is that you are creating the opportunity for others. Well, how is that not even complicity?
Because you destroyed the evidence.
Sure, because you destroyed the evidence. So in Plateau, this is one crisis that continues to create more questions than it does answers. I just hope that the headlines now 50, it could be more. Because people in Plateau, we always say that if you went on farms, even in Bokos and Bakenladi, people are being killed the ones we get to hear are when there's a massacre. But on a daily basis, people are being killed. 1, 2, 3, 4. And at what the villagers have sort of resigned to that fate. You can't count how many people in Plateau in IDP camps. Okay? And those who have lost homes, lost farms, lost their livelihoods, and IDP camps, some are just scattered everywhere, roaming all over. Now we are creating and 2 more villages also have been affected. Houses have been bombed. People can come to a village at 7 p.m., have a luxury of time, burn houses, shoot at random, and the community said that because of lack of communication technology, they couldn't report the matter on time. I just feel that if even at a time like this, okay, in Plateau, people are talking about communication handicap. I don't think it should be their fault.
Yeah.
You have a peculiar problem of a state that is under attack. How is it that we are still talking about communication problem? Why don't we have a mechanism to send signals out within what's it called now? A response time of let's say even 5 minutes. If you can't do, you see, because information and time are the two main things you need in warfare. When you have enough information on the enemy, how they came in, and whether how they plan to go out, what they are coming to do, and how well they are, and the time frame. You have sometimes that they operated freely for 2 hours and nobody starts, and you're like, how did that even happen? How do people operate for 2 hours and there's nobody? I want me to believe that it was all just an attack, like we saw the one that happened in Sokoto or so, where they went to attack an army. So much so that the military had to relocate that whole base, where the people came up to 200 of them. They killed 7 soldiers, and no, not one of them was gone down. I think when some of this has happened, the question should be thrown more at the authorities than it should even be at the terrorists.
Very true. That's true. So
let's move into another paper, and the next on our decks here is the Vanguard newspaper. Now, the CBN raises interest rate to 26.25%, and OPS operators protest. Now, we have about 3 others to this story. Additional burden for business, that is coming from the CPPE. There is no magic wand, that is coming from Cardoso. And NECA highlights negative impact on investments and inflation.
very true. And we have on the top strip of the same newspaper, the student loan scheme, non-discriminatory, says Vice President Shatima.
Okay, moving on. Vanguard, government kill 40 burn houses in Plateau community. That I've looked over that in Daily Trust newspaper.
Yeah, and on the very top of the same newspaper, petrol marketers fret as depot price rise to 710 naira per litre in Lagos. So let's look at the big story here.
Yeah, the big story, that's the CBN raises interest rates to 26.25%. That is coming from the OPS protest. Now, looking at the rate of the business burden, now let's talk about the NECA highlights of the negative impact on investment and inflation. Do you think there is hope? Because a lot of businesses are beginning to cry out and they're beginning to talk about the rates, the interest rate now. No,
but they've been crying. How do businesses cry? They cry by shutting down. They cry by downsizing. They cry. So when the businesses are crying, it's not a neutral, just organic, normal, physiological thing or biological thing of shedding tears. That's how they cry. They cry by losing profits and concomitantly by sacking workers, reducing production capacity. In the past 2 years, consistently, a lot of FMCGs, fast-moving consumer goods, toothpaste, your writing pens, notebooks, things like stencil pins and stuff like that. If you can check, their prices have gone up. The quantity has reduced. Their quality has also reduced. The biscuit that we normally buy for 15 naira before. Now there was one that used to put on it, probably Nigerian. When you open the packet, there were some garnishes on that biscuit. They're taking the garnishes away. They've reduced it. It's true. I'm not aware of it. They've reduced the taste. It's also dry now. It is the economy. Branch, and so whereas your party, before now 200 naira you could buy 4. But 200 naira maybe you can only buy 3 or 2 depending on where you're buying. And then what you're buying is not value for money. Even normal pen that you buy for a child, you buy for yourself. By the time you write, it won't take long. The ink is, and FMCGs basically personal care products. So we are now CBN is saying what? To curb inflation. Their own way of curbing inflation is to reduce the capacity of people to produce more. So that when the economy stagnates, then this is the same strategy they've used for a long time. But go and check Europe. What does Europe do? Obama came into office at the time when recession fell upon him. The Federal Reserve in America reduced the lending rate to 1%. Their real fear is that our businesses don't have the capacity for some level of accountability, and because there's no structure and infrastructure to hedge them in. You can't give somebody money to them now. You has borrowed 100 million from CBN. By 6 months down the line, you have spent more than half of the money buying diesel. So they are afraid. Increasing the interest rate simply means they don't want you to borrow more. They want to reduce how much you're borrowing. Because ideally, now that things are bad, they should pump in more. They should allow people to borrow much more, produce much more. Yeah, that's the standard way. I mean, even for Christians, the idea is when things are tight, you give more. I don't know if you, but they tell you give more because it is by give. You know that giving is like you're fighting. It's by giving more that you. So even in economics too, my idea is when things look. That's when you're supposed to now reduce the lending rate for people to borrow so that they can quickly produce and get the economy back
to its.
But they will not do it because they know that there's infrastructure. Look, power alone. Are you aware that today, business people cannot calculate how much they're spending on power anymore? They can't calculate it. They cannot now. Because they tell you Band A is paying such amount of money.
So it all depends on where your business is residing. By
the way, many years ago, we learned that a lot of Nigeria's big manufacturers don't even rely on public power. Because some of them use technologies that if there's a 10-second disruption, it will affect production. So they don't. So long ago they've left it. Now the ones who managed to remain, Guinness was declared a loss some days ago. Seplat declared loss. How can and the Microsoft has packed the bag and say we have a choice to walk away, and they've said they're walking away. So when you say they are crying out, they are shutting down. That's what it means.
Okay, thank you, Siri. Now, looking at the rate at which, using Microsoft, for example, that have left and some
Procter and Gamble,
they've left.
Yes.
This is just the month of May. From now to December, how do you think the economic situation of Nigeria will be like? And how do you think investors will come into the country or those available will be?
No, so let's talk about those who are available. Don't talk about those that will come. If anybody is going to come, I agree with I tell you Peter side. Those who are remaining, who are not complaining, are the Chinese, the Lebanese, these Asian people that turn Nigerians into slaves. That you know when you resume, you don't know when you close. Those are people that are staying. If you're working and your hand gets caught, is your they are paying you for it. So you know those are practicing economic slavery. And also are staying because it pays them. How do I mean? Now that things are hard, more people will want to go and slave for them than they normally wouldn't have. So they have more people to employ and to turn into slaves than they normally would have had. So it pays them. Those ones they will stay. Now, foreign investors will not come, Chairman, because they see. Let me tell you something. When our president has done three things, one, he has gone to India, say $14 billion investment is coming. It has not come, and most likely will not. They went in France. They went and said that Swiss investors were all coming to the president to say they want to come. People from Switzerland and all these places we've not seen the first person. The third one was in fact, I'll count four. The UAE Dubai visa round that they said when it had not happened. 3. All these things add up to a country's economic intelligence. When global investors want to invest, they carry the map of the world and sit down. They have their concerns and say, okay, tell us where you think we should go. What are the risk factors? A lying government that went and said that Musk had agreed to come and put down $600 million when they had not given them such an agreement. So when they look at the profile of the government of all of these things, the risk factor is enormously high
for them to do business.
So why? And then on top of that, what are the major sectors in the economy? FMCGs, Procter and Gamble have pulled out. Drug manufacturers, Sanofi and Co. have pulled out. The other one that pulled out that was in Ikeja, that major Glasgow Smith Line has pulled out. Okay, the oil majors now come to oil and gas, which is like the base of our economy. All the Chevron, they are all divesting. The one they call the Seplat is declaring a loss. I don't know what kind of confidence it is anybody will. What kind of confidence you don't want to sell to somebody? A country where even your CBN's lending rate is shooting through the roof that local people cannot take loans. So what are they now coming to do?
Very true. Very true. So quickly and finally, let's go to the Guardian newspaper as our last paper for today. And the big story there says CBN guns for stable currency. FPIs as rates hike hot businesses.
Still on the Guardian, the APC dismisses major talks as Obi visits the LP Secretariat.
Yes, very true. And on the bottom strip of the same newspaper, we have with that Yobe, Benue, and Anambra senators clash over farmers' herders crisis.
Again, Labour rejects 54,000 minimum wage proposal.
And most importantly, court squashes tenure extension for Rivers LGA chairman. Abaku, let's talk about this issue of, if you can, maybe you can intertwine them together. APC dismisses merger talks as OB visits a Labour Party secretariat. His visit to the Labour Party secretariat, of course, means that he is still simpatico with the party, and which means there's no going back. But this issue of APC dismissing merger talk, where is that coming from?
I think we can all spot propaganda when we see one,
okay,
can't we? Mm. Sometimes even gentlemen play by very ungentlemanly rules. Nobody saw the APC's opinion about that Obi meeting Atiku or be going to Labour Party meeting. As well as I see the man, he is doing the much he can to keep an identity, to keep his brand, to keep to principles, to keep to values. That's my own assessment of P2B. I don't know what others may be, but that's how I see it. So, you know that his visit to Atiku wound up with a sentiment that made us to perceive Atiku saying, even if it means him stepping down for P2B to run in 2027, he will step down and back him. That sort of sentiment did come out. Okay? So now there is no there's no ruling party that will hear that the two major opposition candidates it had in the last election are planning to have a merger and will not throw sand in that teapot. That's what I see the APC doing. Okay. But the question is, how many people are even listening to them?
Very true. Now, quickly, just before we go for the want of time, let's speak to Rivers State.
Oh.
Yes, the local government chairman extension quashed by the court. So are we seeing downward falling of the structure of the Honjo? Yes.
Because, of course, what Wike wanted to have done was to say that the council chairman are Wike's backbone. But if they are taken out and what's his name and new people are brought in, then that would have done significant damage. That would have been like taking the carpet literally off the feet of Mr. Wike, and that will not do his political career any good. I've always maintained that I didn't want to have a dog in the fight between both men, Fubara and Wike. But what is true is true. What is right is right, and what is just is just. Politically and legally, if that happens and these guys are out of office, then Wike will have to now begin to reel why he didn't make peace with the former.
What goes around comes around.
Sure.
Very true. Very true. You know, sometimes when people, think the whole strategy, sometimes some of the persons with better, would come and take over. Yeah. And that's just what it is. Well, it's about the time we have for our newspaper reviews today. Of course, we'd love to say thank you to Cyril Abaku for being part of our show. And just to let you also know that he'll be around to take us on our main conversation for today. And when we return, much ado about a minimum wage as NLC rejects improved offer by the federal government. Details in just a bit.